Hey yo. Um, because Arlecchino's getting a rerun and Layla got some focus in the latest event, I wanted to showcase one of Layla's better use cases as a character from like a more meta perspective, and that is as a melt enabler for Arlecchino teams. Layla as a melt enabler is a bit talked down because there are some downsides. Mainly, Layla's rate of cryo application is wonky sometimes because of how often she hits. And so, when it comes to applying elements, there are two rules that what is called internal cooldown follows, which is what allows elements to be applied on certain hits. ICD, or internal cooldown, has the timer rule and the hit rule. So an elemental hit will apply its element either every 3 seconds or every 3 hits, and sometimes those things can overlap, causing applications to happen in very quick succession. And because Layla has a lot of hits, as a part of both her skill and burst, she'll end up applying cryo like twice in a row, and then sometimes you end up wasting a cryo application because applying cryo twice in a row doesn't give you twice as much pyro, it just refreshes what was already there. Um, so because Layla's cryo application is inconsistent, a lot of people have dismissed Layla's ability to apply cryo enough for a character like Arlecchino to melt her stuff. But it is still doable. It's just the acceptance of sometimes RNG is gonna screw you over, but most of the time it works. So something now we can talk about the positives of this team now that the negatives are out of the way. Uh, the positives. We probably shouldn't use this menu. Let's use this one. The positives is that it's not constellation reliant
Benny's
at
adventure
all.
team, assemble!
So Bennett's constellations, like they're good for like damage and stuff, like especially his C1, his C5, and C6, all like increase the team's damage by a noticeable amount, but none of them like are required for the team to function, and it doesn't feel like you're missing out on some like insane value like you would for like Chevrusa C6 or Farazan C6 or something like that. I wish I had C6, but it's just how the chips lay. Sucrose, I don't even have any constellations. You don't need shit for Sucrose. And then same thing for Layla. Layla's C4 is like okay in this team, but it doesn't really do all that much. Um, Another thing is how cheap the team is. My Sucrose is still level 70 on a barely leveled Thrilling Tales. She does have all EM main stats, which is good. That's what you want on Sucrose, is all EM main stats on VV, but like, her flower is not even upgraded, neither is her feathers. No constellations, level 70, unleveled talents. You want her to be level 70 so that you unlock her second passive. This one gives an EM buff to the team, which is important for melts. So you do want to get her to level 70, but you don't have to. You can cope with even lower if you want. With Layla, you want to level up her skill for survivability. Other than that, she doesn't get like a huge amount from level 90. It's mostly just comfort. And then Bennett, you want to level up his burst to max, but and then for Arlecchino, you want to just level up her normal. So in total for this team, there are 3 talents you want to level, which is extremely low. For a lot of teams want more than that. Of course, I have Arlecchino Triple Crown, but another thing is the free-to-play weapon options. Arlecchino, you can put her on White Tassel, and I'll put her on an unleveled one just for the showcase, because I don't want to kill the enemy too early. With Arlecchino Sig, I have like a top 100 build in the world, so it'll die in like 2 hits if I don't put her on a White Tassel. Same thing with Bennett. You can put him on something high base attack like Aquila Favonia, or you can just put him on Sapwood Blade. Give him a bunch of ER, put him on Noblesse. Put Layla on Tenacity. Just give her a bunch of HP. Favonius Sword is ideal, but, like, it's not required. It's a gotcha weapon. You don't have to get it. Hey, you can just put her on something that, like, looks amazing on her, like, Moonweaver's Dawn, or, like, this sword, Calamity of Eshu. It looks incredible on her. Favj is good for, like, Stygian Onslaught, because, you want all your characters to have a lot of energy, and at Refinement Rank 5, Favj can give you extra energy every 6 seconds, which is really good for kickstarting energy at the beginning of Stygian Onslaught, which is nice. And then Sucrose, yeah, I mean, barely leveled Thrilling Tales. My Layla's Favj isn't even leveled either, you don't really need it. Just on VV, no leveled talents at all, Sucrose is really easy. So this team is really cheap, and it's functional, and yeah, let's talk about rotations now. We'll, like, do a charge attack on Arlecchino, but then you cancel it, because you don't want your charged attack to hit. Hitting the charge attack will melt the charge attack and consume a unit of cryo from Layla, and Layla, she's not Sitlali. She doesn't have enough cryo for you to do that. And doing that is beneficial, especially if you're on Sig. So, I'm not here saying that Layla's better than Sitlali or anything. She's not. She is definitely your free-to-play option, but as a free-to-play option goes, I mean, no constellations required, put her on Favj, you know. This whole team is very new player friendly. So, let's show it.
Not now. Cold. 9 seconds. I'm going in. Let's light it up. Animo test 6308.
Okay, so that's the rotation. Generally, you keep attacking with Arlecchino until her skill's off cooldown. So let's talk about, like, what just happened there. Alright. So, something to understand about Layla's skill is that the little stars that appear, you see how they're appearing right there? You get an extra star whenever you use a skill on someone. Like Bennett's skill and Sucrose's skill in this rotation, right? And that allows for her stars to start firing when you start your field time with Arlecchino. Which is what allows the cryo application to line up well with Arlecchino's normal attack string. The combo I was doing there is N4D. I find this combo to be kind of comfortable for this team because of Arlecchino's ICD. It's not necessarily the most optimal for damage. That would be just N3D, and then just waiting for cryo to pop up again before you start your next one. But I've noticed that sometimes N3D, when you do it too fast, you sometimes get 2 pyro applications on the second N3D because Arlecchino's timer rule kicks in. So I kind of prefer N4 for this team. And N4 is fine. So yeah, that's the rotation for this team. Yeah. Is that all I have to say about this? Kinda. I should reiterate that Layla's not as good as Sitlali here, not even close. Sitlali provides more buffing, and she provides more cryo application, allowing you to melt more hits. If you notice, by the end of that rotation, we actually, Layla's burst expired, and so did her shield, and Arlecchino's skill was still on cooldown when it did. Meaning you have to attack a couple more times, and you're missing out on a melt. Now, that being said, this is a melt at the end of Arlecchino's rotation, and Arlecchino does more damage at the beginning of her rotation compared to the end. So it's not the biggest deal in the world. A bigger deal is kind of like Bennett's buff running out, but, yeah, you know. Let's see if I can do it again.
Transfix my guiding stars! Stars, everybody stand back! Stand clear!
that was good. You're supposed to, like, keep attacking until Arlecchino's skill comes off cooldown, and then you just redo the rotation. I do want to point out that the timing for this is pretty tight. You have to switch to your characters very quickly, and I have my doubts that it's even doable at higher ping amounts, but at lower ping amounts, it's probably easier. So yeah, I guess that's all I want to show today. I should reiterate again that Layla's cryo application is inconsistent, so sometimes it can just be like annoying, and sometimes you're gonna miss your melts and stuff like that. Layla is not sit lolly when she comes to this, but she can work, and especially if you're starting out, this is a very functional team that requires minimal investment, so it's something to think about. Yeah, you know, you are missing a melt compared to Sitlolly, and you are missing Sitlolly's extra buffing and all that, but as a free-to-play option that doesn't require constellations, like, Layla can get the job done.